In this video, we're going to talk about every single thing that you need to know about living in one of the most underrated cities in all of Broward County, and that's Pompano Beach. Before we get started, if you don't know, my name is Joe, and I'm a Florida realtor, and me and my team cover the entire state of Florida. So whether you're looking to move to Key West or you're looking to move to Tallahassee, we're happy to help you in any way that we can, whether it be email, text, phone call, whatever you need, let me know. All right, so where in the world is Pompano Beach? So Pompano Beach is actually in Broward County, and it's right in between Fort Lauderdale and Lighthouse Point. So Fort Lauderdale is pretty much like the major city in like the downtown, so to say, of Broward County. And then Lighthouse Point's pretty much like the bougier, bigger brother of Pompano. And Pompano is definitely on their way to that, especially with everything that's going on. But it doesn't have that same price point yet, which is really, really nice. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But on top of that, I mean, Pompano Beach has every amenity and thing that you could think of a beach town. So like, obviously they have the beach, they have their own pier. You literally border the Lighthouse Point Inlet. So if you have a boat, you can go right out into the ocean. And on top of that, you have the great waterways for whether you want a boat, jet ski, paddleboard, kayak, just being on the water in general, or just fishing too. So that's another great aspect of it. And that kind of ties into our next point. So what in the world is there to do in Pompano? I mean, is it just a boring sleeper city? Is there stuff to do like Fort Lauderdale, or is it just like, eh? So Pompano does have a ton of stuff to do. So number one, I would say, is the golf. So just like any other city in Florida, Pompano has great golf. So there's two main big golf courses. So it's like Palm Air Country Club, which is a little bit more west, kind of closer to Coconut Creek. And then the second one is the Pompano Beach Country Club, which is on Federal and a lot closer to the beach. On top of that, we are actually getting a Topgolf, and it will be the first one in Broward County. So they're working through the permits and stuff. And right now it's going to be right next to the Isle Casino, which is actually being rebranded live. So that entire area over there is going to be kind of built up, and it's going to be a lot of fun once they get it done. Obviously, it's a couple years out because they're going through the permits and things, but it is still very exciting. On top of the golf, there's a lot of water sports, obviously. I mean, it's Florida. We're right there. The beach is there. So one of the major things I would say is a lot of fun in Pompano is like paddleboarding and kayaking, which are kind of underrated because everyone's like, I don't want to do a workout. I want to go enjoy myself. But I'm telling you, go rent a paddleboard or a kayak. It's a ton of fun. Yes, it's a workout. You'll get yoked, but it's still fun at the same time. And then obviously we have the main thing. So like awesome beach at Pompano Beach with the Pompano Beach Pier. And we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. And then you have your boating and jet skis and stuff like that. There's actually a lot of people that prefer boating over the beach, and I'm one of them. And that kind of ties into the fishing culture of Pompano. So Pompano is more so, I would say, a fishing type city than that of Fort Lauderdale and Lighthouse Point. Like those two are more so like boating, just being out there and relaxing, while a lot of people in Pompano are more so in the fishing realm. And that's kind of tied into some of the projects that Pompano's underwent as well. So like the Pompano Beach Fishing Pier has the fishing village, which is the anchoring point for the pier. So at the fishing village, they have different food places. So they have like BurgerFi and Beach House, and Beach House is like more upscale, and you can oversee the beach and like, I mean, tapas, drinks, sushi, seafood, stuff like that. And then right there in the pier, you can go fishing, and they just redid it. So it's over 900 feet of pier. It's beautiful. It's amazing. You have to go check it out. But you can just go walk on it, or you can go fishing. So it's $6 to fish with a 3-rod limit per person. But they do have annual memberships available as well for residents and non-residents. So with all that being said, what's the life like there? Like, what are the people like? What's going on? Like, is it just all fishermen? It's a fishing village? No, trust me, it's very family friendly. A lot of people have lived there for a very long time since a lot of these neighborhoods were built. But there's been a great influx of younger people as well moving here just because of the quality of life that you get there, along with the price point. I mean, you really can't go wrong living on the beach. And Pompano, before probably a couple years ago, wasn't as well known. It was probably looked down upon because it wasn't Lighthouse Point and it wasn't Fort Lauderdale. So a lot of people were able to move in there, and you kind of got more for your money. And you still are getting more for your money. But with that great mix of people, there's a lot of family-friendly events and different things going on. So like for families, you have Butterfly World, as well as a lot of parks like Tradewinds Park. And I know both of those are kind of out west and closer to Coconut Creek, but they're still right there and they're pretty much bordering Pompano, which is nice. So it's right there. Along with, you can go to Lighthouse Point, you can go to Fort Lauderdale, you can go to Oakland Park, even Lauderdale by the Sea. So everything's right there within reach, and the most you're going to drive, even with traffic, maybe 30 minutes. And that's if you catch every light and you're bumper to bumper, and you leave during the absolute worst time. And on top of that, I mean, there's a lot of events as well. So people in Pompano like to get out of their house. They don't want to just sit there and do nothing. And the city recognizes this, so there's a lot of different events that go on. So like there's Pompano Beach Seafood Fest, as well as the Pompano Beach Food and Wine Festival, which is really fun. I think the Seafood Fest is more fun. I like seafood more than the food and wine, but that's just my opinion. And on top of that, I think the biggest event in Pompano, and you're gonna laugh at it, is the St. Coleman's Italian Festival, which is technically an elementary middle school. It's a Catholic school, but they put on this Italian festival and everyone goes to it. And the food's actually pretty good. And think of your traditional school fair, but this time it's got different games and food and things like that. You just have to go and experience it. Like, explaining it doesn't really do it justice. And hopefully once they do it this year, I'll take some videos and put it up for you guys to kind of see how this differs from other fairs at schools and things like that. All right, now we'll talk about what you're really interested in, and that's the real estate. I know we talked about Fort Lauderdale and Lighthouse Point pretty much being Pompano's bigger brother. So in terms of the average sales price in Pompano, for single family homes, it's $474,000. While for condos and townhomes, it's $482,000. And you're like, whoa. How are condos and townhomes more than single family homes? And it really just ties into, a lot of these condos and townhomes are on the water, so they are a little bit more expensive. Well, not to say there's not a lot of homes on the water, but Pompano does go west. And as you get more west, some of them do get a little bit cheaper and they're not as expensive. On top of that, if you're looking for multifamily or investing purposes, or even the best strategy in the world, house hacking, for multifamily, it's still pretty expensive like the rest of South Florida, with a $685,000 average sales price. And then how this really compares to Fort Lauderdale and Lighthouse Point is it's extremely cheaper. So for single family homes in Lighthouse Point, the average sales price is $2.2 million, while in Fort Lauderdale, the average sales price for a single family home is $1.2 million. So that $474 doesn't look bad when you're looking at those two. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's still $1 million homes on the water in Pompano, but as of right now, you can still get a little bit more home for the money in Pompano because it doesn't have that prestige yet of Lighthouse Point and Fort Lauderdale, but it's definitely on its way there, and we've really seen it boom in the last couple of years. With that being said, some of the homes are a little bit smaller because they are older, so that's one thing to take into consideration. But once you start getting into over 2,000, 2,500 square feet on the water, you're easily in the 2 millions or high 1 millions. So that's something to think about. With all that being said, if you're thinking about moving to Pompano, or even just have questions about living in Pompano in general, things to do, events, anything like that, please reach out to me. You could text me, call me, email me, DM me. I don't care what it is. If you have a question or you need something, please let me know and I'll answer it as quickly and as best as I possibly can.